Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Fed Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is July 30th, 2024, and today is Tuesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching the markets really tapering off right before tomorrow's big FOMC rate decision from the United States. However, today, looking at the major economic events all day today, out of Germany, we have a CPI preliminary number coming out. And then at 4 p.m. South African time, out of the United States, CB consumer sentiment and a JOLTS job openings number coming out. Now, looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, the US dollar does advance versus the major pairs. And looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ, pretty much trading sideways, shifting over to commodities. Oil and natural gas continue to slide on the downside. Now, looking at stocks, it's very specific. Tesla gets a bounce, and 3M gets that fade opportunity we spoke about yesterday. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin just tapering lower. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. First with the Euro USD, tapering lower, not by a lot, but it is retracing lower versus the dollar getting stronger here. It's hitting that 200-day and 30-day moving average, and they're all converging all at one time. Now this is really important because at a certain point, that 8-day moving average is going to play catch up, and somewhere along this 108-ish level and 107.90-ish level, it's going to consolidate and possibly bounce off of it. Now, tomorrow we have Japan coming out with its rate decision, and then the United States tomorrow night. So there's a lot happening in the markets right now in order to digest all this information. Now, jumping into GBP USD, also retracing, and I would add a little bit more than I would have expected it to. Okay, it's actually moving faster than I expected it to on the downside. So keep an eye on both of these majors. Now, jumping into commodities, gold really just holding on to that downwards momentum. However, it's still breaking this level. This is a really important level. 2388 is super important because remember, this is our trend line. And if it does break above it, that means we're breaking our consistency on the downside and we're going to be consolidating sideways. That's a super important event. Now, there's not much of a trade here, but it may change character at a certain point, and that's why I'm highlighting it. Now, looking at crude oil, did retrace further down, and we look like we're going to hit our $72 a barrel. We're going to test that low again. Natural gas also got that bounce after that sell-off, and sure enough, we sold off, and we continue to sell off, and we're testing that double low at $2 a gas. Okay, this is really a very fantastic commodity to trade. It's got bigger bang for your buck. So keep an eye on it because if it does bounce off this area, it would be significant. Now jumping into the US markets, first with the Dow Jones, tapering lower, not a big deal. Okay, we're talking about 50 points altogether. The NASDAQ also not moving so much. However, individual stocks, let's take a look at Tesla because that did move nicely yesterday. Got that bounce back as this is pushing and may close that gap down, which is super important. Now looking at JP Morgan, and I'm going to highlight this because it's super important for tomorrow. It's on its highs, close to its highs, about $5 or $6 away from its all-time record highs. Let's take a look at the daily, and it's consolidating above this area, which is super important because it's showing some strength. Now, yesterday we did cover a symbol that we haven't done before, 3M. Now, 3M is a tremendous company, bellwether to its own right, okay, and it had this massive gap up and this potential fade opportunity I did mention yesterday, and sure enough, that's what happened. Okay, it consolidated above 128 and then sold off to 124, a nice $4 move on the downside. Now it may just fade itself and then test its lower area in order to push back higher. But this is what happens when you get these type of spikes, is that, the market is not ready for it and then has to do some sort of work to kind of, test it out again to see if it's really warranted where it's been going to. Now, I'm going to jump back into, lastly, looking at Bitcoin because this has really just tapered off, made a double top here at 68-ish thousand, okay, and then tapering off. I think we're going to consolidate here in this area. Let's see what happens with the FOMC. I do expect a choppy market going into tomorrow's session as well. This is Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.